Welcome back to the Crypto Power Hour. Of course, the number one crypto show on Rumble. And I have to say, George, I never get tired of saying that.
I know you
Powered
don't.
by our friends over at Solum Global, of course, with your hosts, Lance Miliaccio and George Ballantyne, the Crypto Bros. And of course, this is your ultimate deep dive into everything crypto, blockchain, and decentralized finance. We don't care whether you're a seasoned investor or just a newbie stepping into the world of digital assets for the very first time. We're going to bring you expert insights, top interviews, and exciting new projects shaping the future of digital finance. Because, of course, on this show, in crypto, we trust. George, what's up, bro? 7 a.m., rise and grind, rise and shine. What's up, buddy?
Oh, nothing great starting my day with not being informed of things, but, I get shit done. It's good. I like working under pressure. I don't know. It's 7 a.m. We woke up this morning. We're blessed. God blessed us. A lot of people didn't wake up, Lance.
He's got to take the shot if it's there.
A lot of people didn't wake up. So I say we are on way ahead of the game today. Yeah, thank you, Jesus.
And of course, if you're joining us for the first time, take the short form, take the long form, share it far and wide. You can take the live link during the show, share it on your own social media. You can use us to grow your social media, and hopefully you'll help us grow. Right now, we're doing great. The Crypto Power Hour is ranked in the top 3 crypto shows in the nation. Just got that from Gemini and some other reviewing reports. Top 100 business and finance on Amazon also. So we're pretty happy. Of course, we take the audio from this and put it on 50 plus audio podcast platforms. So if you're not subscribed to the Crypto Power Hour, go over there, help us out. Go subscribe on any of the platforms. Of course, it's free. Take it, share it, make comments. Let us know what you're thinking. If you want to sponsor the Crypto Power Hours, you can hit us up over at info@thebigmig.com. That's info@thebigmig.com. We're always looking for top sponsors for the show. Always excited about that. So let's start off. We got to thank, for you guys out there, of course, George and I, if you watch our regular show, we love gold and silver. We're diversified. We do crypto, we do gold and silver. We make some other investments because it's all about diversifying, because you never know when there's going to be a big breakdown like we recently saw in the crypto market. But this is the prepper bar, the 62.2 gram prepper bar, perforated, easily broken down into your choice of 3 different denominations, fit a multitude of needs. Doesn't matter whether it's diversification, asset protection from inflation, economic turmoil. Of course, in the case of the prepper bar, it's very unique utility for barter and trade. It's a perfect gift at these prices. Who doesn't like gold and silver? We've seen a little bit of retraction, but a lot of the experts say that's temporary, and we'll see a move back up on all ends. Head over to thebigmigbar.com. They've got them in stock right now. I checked right before the show. They just got a restock in gold. It comes with an assay report. And I have to warn you, the guys at Genesis just told me this morning, there is a crap load of counterfeit gold coming out of China and Asia. It's all over eBay. Be very careful. I always recommend the guys at Genesis Gold Group. Head over to thebigmigbar.com, thebigmigbar.com. Use all caps prepper. That's going to be your promo code. That's PREPPER, all caps. That'll get you 10% off on the silver prepper bar, 5% off on the gold. You can head over to thebigmigbar.com after the show. Don't go anywhere. You're going to definitely want to be part of this show, covering some great topics. And George makes it easy. There's the QR code. You can take a snapshot. That'll take you right over there after the show. Thebigmigbar.com.
Break me off a piece of that prepper bar.
All right. Jingle is loaded. We love to cover all topics when it comes to blockchain and decentralized finance. We've talked about, Bitcoin. We've talked about many of the altcoins, the ISO 2002 tokens, wallets, exchanges, you name it. We try to educate you in the process, and we try to get interviews on here to give you the whole picture. A lot of times you may not know about NFTs. It may not be something you're aware of. A lot of people that watch the show have thanked us for giving them kind of a ground up. And of course, George and I really only got into the crypto market about 3 years ago. So we're newbies in comparison to a lot of people. We weren't lucky enough to be around the 2009 Bitcoin early stages. Probably didn't really completely understand it, although I did hear about it from a friend. But today we're going to be digging in on some NFT information. We're joined by Jeff Crane, who's originally from Southern California. He's now based in Northern Utah. He entered blockchain in 2018, so a little earlier than us, by building a Bitcoin mining rig before pivoting to hosting major crypto events in Utah. And during the ISO boom, he co-founded Glyph, a company similar to Civic in Puerto Rico, where he befriended Brock Pierce. And in 2020, he served as a Utah director for Pierce's U.S. presidential campaign, helping secure the first blockchain recorded vote in U.S. election history. I feel like we could use a hell of a lot more than that, which as screwed up as our election system is. He's been featured in his film NFT, The Circus is in Town, origin story. In 21, Jeff launched NFT the Movie, entertainment company, producing NFT the Movie. It's been submitted to Sundance. It's not quite out. We wish we had a trailer, but that'll be coming sometime in the future. I'm sure he'll share it with us when the time comes. And 22-minute Magic City Ape DAO documentary screened at the 2022 Salt Lake City red carpet. And both films remain unreleased to preserve the full NFT story. He's going to go into the details of that. He also founded a digital poster company, LLC, and that's where Miriam comes in, originally from Raleigh, North Carolina. She studied design at North Carolina State University. In 2020, she launched her graphic design business, Shamira, working with over 50 companies, many in tech and Web3, specializing in pitch decks that have helped secure Series A and VC funding. 2021, she moved to Miami, met Jeff Crane at an NFT, the movie event, and illustrated a sold-out NFT collection for Des Femmes, later supporting 10 plus NFT projects. She has organized Duke University's Web3 conference in 2023 and co-founded the Live AI Hackathon at Duke and Harvard in 24 and 25. That's an interesting event. I'm always interested to know what the hackers are doing because they always seem to be at the tip of the spear when it comes to new technology. So she's based in St. Lucie City, and we're going to be talking more about the two projects, NFT the Movie, and you can find it at nftthemovie.com. And of course, digitalpostercompany.com. And I'll give you some more details on that. Let's get him in. I don't want to leave him backstage too long. Boring back there.
All right. Welcome to the Crypto Pow Hour. Miriam and Jeff Crane. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
Awesome. Thanks for having us, gentlemen.
Well, listen, we appreciate you guys coming in. We haven't, I got to be honest, we haven't had a ton of NFT people on the show. Not for any reason, but that's a pretty specific community. We're more tied in with the altcoin community, of course, and a lot of the big exchange communities. Maybe start with, I always like to ask people, because you might have had a different idea when you first start out. For us, when we got into media, it was because we couldn't stay on the sidelines anymore. That's our regular show, thebigmig.com. You can find us over on Rumble Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. Eastern Standard. But we got into crypto because we really felt like the quality shows in the crypto market were lacking. We had a request from Rumble. Did we have any concepts of bringing that kind of product in? We were already starting to cover some crypto on our regular show and decided we wanted to go further. But let's start with you, Miriam, ladies first. You got your background in design, so the NFT design connections there, but what made you decide to go down this route?
Yes, of course. So, as a designer and an artist, I've always been someone who loves creating and been very passionate about putting new ideas out in the world. And one of the things I especially love about the Web3 community is the culture behind supporting creators, the bigger picture of the feminine energy, and supporting a universal system where everyone is treated with equity. And I just really love the space where it's been the most transparent about that shift in culture compared to other industries that have preached some of the same things. But I feel like Web3 has certainly come closest to delivering on those promises, even if not perfect. That's part of what Jeff and I are working on to help and bolster that community and support and deliver on the promises of Web3.
It's interesting. I'm always kind of shocked. I grew up in Fordham Road in the Bronx, and maybe I grew up in a different culture, different time. I'm always kind of shocked at the generosity of the people in the cryptocurrency and blockchain and Web3 community. It's refreshing, number one, because we cover a lot of political topics, and politicians aren't known for their generosity, as we all well know. But it's interesting how willing people are when somebody is struggling to understand a concept, or they want some information, or they're trying to understand some sort of integration in AI or otherwise. I'm always surprised at the amount of generous, hey, well, if you want to engage with me, I can help you with that. That they're not asking for money. They're not trying to make a check. They just want to genuinely help people, which is a shocker in today's society for me. I don't see as much of that in so many other areas where you're like, geez. I mean, I have to take my hand off to Michael Dell as an example. I was surprised at the generosity of him and his wife. It's not common among billionaires. They like to keep counting those billions so they can get to the top of the Forbes list. But here he is giving away money to try to give kids a start. It was a very surprising move, in my personal opinion. maybe I don't know Michael Dell, so it might be unfair for me to frame it like that, but I do see the interaction since George and I spend so much time on having to look for news stories and content, and we're constantly online. You just start to see these patterns, and you don't see that. So but it makes sense what you're saying, and I could see the appeal of that from that perspective. And tell me this, Jeff, what about you? You started off, of course, maybe you decided Bitcoin mining was a good move. I don't know if you're still mining Bitcoin. Hopefully you are.
Oh, he should be because he owes me 10 of them. So
that's right.
You're
gotta get
gonna
those
live that
Oh,
down, bro.
man.
But what got you started? Did you always like this particular? I mean, 2009, Bitcoin had empty rooms. Nobody was listening. Nobody knows Satoshi Nakamoto's existence. We still don't know who that is, although there's lots of speculation. What got you started down this lane, Jeff?
It's a really great question. And I think George will associate to this because I'm on the spectrum. So the ADHD, autism spectrum. And what we carry in common is that from one day to the next, we can be an expert in something that we know nothing about. If there isn't any fear or potential death at the end of the road, some sort of danger, I'm not doing it. That's why school is so boring for people like us. So I've been an entrepreneur for 35 years. I started my career in the internet world, and I had about 10 different businesses. Now, we all know that there's 5 phases of business. Idea, the first 10 years, I did the first 3, idea, development, startup. And I didn't understand the growth and the exit side of it. As I got a little bit older, I got past that. I got past all the fun, and I'm like, okay, I really need to complete something. So as it relates to blockchain, something that you said, Lance, I really want to touch on. I am a Christian, but one of my favorite symbols is the yin yang symbol. And you have the male and the female energy.
Right.
Blockchain is female energy, and it could be argued, and I'm a pretty good person to argue this concept, whether it's the pizza DAO or whether it's going to an event. I've literally never spent $1 on any pass to get into any event. And the reason that is because when you bring value, people open the door and they know that you're contributing. So how I really started this was just intercommunication with people who were smarter than me, who taught me a few things. And I thought, you know what? I really want to be a part of this. I'm not a very technical person. So although I say that I built that mining machine, if you guys remember pre-ICO days, you couldn't really do much unless you were really, really tapped into blockchain and crypto. And so a lot of the people like myself started building machines and started mining. Unfortunately, where I live, power is much too expensive for that to make it work. So we were mining other tokens, and I realized that it was a commodity. If you guys remember back then, those NVIDIA cards or whatever it is that you used went up like skyrocketed because the gamers were using them, right? The miners were using them, and it became a real problem that you really couldn't scale your business. So I came from types of businesses where I could scale from 0 to $100,000 in a year plus some without very little effort. And so I got into the blockchain industry because of the invitations that people wanted me to come to these events and learn more. And I'll just leave it there. But I mean, there's much more of a roadmap. But if I may, Miriam, we have to edify each other because that's just how we do it in life. You want to share, to add to what Lance said about how we met and how you got into NFTs, more directly, if you don't mind?
No, absolutely. Let's do that because I think it's important. I think history of how people get involved with a specific project. Of course, most of the time the motivation is greed, but at the end of the day, that's not common. That's not necessarily why people got involved in decentralized finance or blockchain or cryptocurrency or meme coins. Sure, everybody wants to make some kind of money because you have to have money to live. But at the end of the day, like I said, I'm very surprised. So Miriam, please tell us the story.
Absolutely. In 2021, I had newly moved to Miami and just was trying to get my foot in the door as a designer, figuring out the space. My boyfriend, ex-boyfriend now, at the time was going to the Bitcoin conference, and the tickets for that were.
And what year was that, Miriam? I'm sorry.
2021.
2021. Okay, great. Thanks. Go ahead.
The tickets for that were just well out of price range.
Dollars, I think, at the time.
Several $100s. It was just not very affordable. So he was going to go to that. And I found out about another event called the Shitcoin conference down the street that was supposedly a lot more accessible. And that was an interesting coincidence in that I was just like, well, I really want to get into the Web3 space. I've only just started beginning to invest, had an inkling, an idea, just didn't really know a whole lot, but wanted to learn more. As soon as I walked up to the venue, I see this BMW pull up, and I thought, wow, there are a lot of celebrities in the space. Turns out that was Jeff.
Yeah.
And
But what did the car look like? Just
What did
so
it
that
look
everybody
like?
doesn't think I'm just driving around a
the
BMW.
Bratz giant NFT, the movie logo on the car. It was bright red. Jeff was wearing a kilt. He just was this very eccentric man that I was just like, wow.
Are you saying that Jeff
this is
was maybe
awesome.
flashy? Is that what are you saying? That's what caught your attention? He might have been a little flashy.
Yeah, no, it definitely caught my attention. I was just like, wow, there's a lot of celebrities in the space. Surely Jeff must be famous. But just like anything else, Jeff is a person just like you and me. And parking in Miami is really tough. So I helped him park. We took a photo right in front of the car, and we've been friends ever since.
You know, I always think it's interesting. I've heard quite a few stories from other people that have come onto this show that are similar, that's how the connection started. You know, people that even met at early Bitcoin conferences or, you know, presentations where there was maybe 6 people in the room. And because there was only 6 of them, they made a relationship from that point forward. But, you know, this is the space, the NFT space has been a little bit clouded. You know, I think it probably hit its peak. I think, you know, for people, and I want you to explain that to the audience, kind of what the real future is for NFT, because some people got confused that it was only connected to this digital art. When there was, I think Sotheby's had that one show, and then the merge, I think, was the top selling piece, did in itself for almost $92 million. And what was unique about that purchase price is that was not one collector. That was a group of darn near 30,000 collectors. I think it was 29,000 and change that, you know, who acquired, you know, over 300,000 total mass units. So they really made that NFT decentralized collective ownership piece. It was a very strange representation because the art wheel is an interesting place. I own quite a bit of art. You know, I bought it over the years, mostly bought what I liked. I didn't really buy for money, bought things that I have a Klee, and I have, you know, one of the original Obeys, things like that, and a Banksy and some other stuff that I bought one at a time. And I just, because I liked it, I bought it. Sometimes I made a mistake. I didn't buy what maybe became the most valuable years later. But the point is, the market, at least the way the media portrayed it, was all digital art. They didn't really explain what non-fungible tokens were. So maybe tell people that, you know, where it's going beyond that. Because of course there's the major dip. A bunch of NFTs aren't worth what people paid for them. You know, some people have even asked us, do you think they'll come back? And I don't know enough about it. And you guys are the experts. So let's start there and maybe explain to the audience where the NFT market is in relation to the entire, you know, decentralized and blockchain world.
Yeah, I appreciate you asking that question. Now, obviously, my nature is a person who's done several hundred interviews. I'm a director and a producer, so my nature is to ask questions. I just have one tiny question, if you don't mind, Lance.
Yeah.
Had you ever, I noticed that you had Banksy in there. Clearly you haven't met him, but had you met artists before you purchased that art?
No, you know, I've had a weird thing. I've always kind of like you guys have your own ADHD or OCD things. I've always really loved design. It's been one of those things I've always really enjoyed, whether it was, you know, interior decorating or otherwise. I did a lot of construction where I'd build places. They were really unique. Built a lot of places that were unusual, you know, lofts and otherwise, some with Asian themes, some with other themes. Some of them were for personal use, some of them were for sale. But since I always liked design, art had always intrigued me. And there was a time when I couldn't afford it. You know, I was a college kid and I couldn't really, you know, buy what I liked because, of course, the prices were prohibitive. And as I made some money, I decided, well, I'll buy some of the pieces I like. I'll look for early artists before. I don't think that when I first, and I know it wasn't because price-wise it wouldn't make sense. When I first started looking at Banksy, you look at somebody like Obey or, you know, Shepard Fairey, for people out there that might know him by that. I never met any of them. I never bought based on whether or not there's a guy I really like. He does some interesting stuff called Jorge Santos. I bought a monster work of his. It's gigantic. And but I bought it because I liked it. It wasn't never really about the potential to make money. Now I've had some pieces, you know, I bought a Paul Klee early on because I liked Klee's work. It was a smaller piece. I like this. I never believed that Klee was going to blow up like he did.
Some of the stuff any of your pieces worth good money?
Yeah, oh boy. Some of them are.
You know what my next thing's going to be, right?
What?
Make one for the team for the better good of the show and stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
We'll talk about that off air, though. Go ahead.
How about you, George? Do you have any art?
Do I have any art? No.
Yeah. Okay.
No, I'm not.
Go ahead, take it from there.
All right.
Yeah. Well, and I'm glad you asked that, because the way that I make my movies, they're very much relationship based and not technical driven. You can see Minted. You can see one of the movies that's coming out from my friend Springna that has all kinds of stuff about Beeple, etc. The reason I got into this space in the first place is, again,
let me just tell the audience, he said Beeple, he's another artist, and I think Beeple had a work that sold for 70 million, right? Or 69.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. I just want the audience to know. So he's another NFT artist that
thank you for mentioning that. I don't want to go back and not answer your question, but I do want to talk about Beeple. The reason Beeple was able to sell what he did is because, if you remember, it was years previous that he had been working on it. Every single day he was adding digital pictures. And so
5,000 images, wasn't it?
Yep.
It was several thousand.
Over 5,000.
Yeah. And it's the pedigree and the provenance of the artist. That's why I asked you. Everybody knows who Andy Warhol is, but you know him now. But if you knew him in Studio 54 and you got to really know the guy, you would realize there's something different about that guy. So in my career, and I think George can appreciate this, anybody who's on the spectrum understands patterns. That's why nonverbal communication is so very important for us, because we can read a room and we can see people coming a mile away. When I got into this business, I really wasn't intending to tell the story about NFTs. I kind of went down that road that most of us that's watching this program have done since the internet. When we come up with a really great idea, the first thing we do is buy a domain name. Right. And then what we do is we wake up in the morning and go, holy crap, I just bought 10 domain names that I'm never going to use.
We have all done that.
Right?
Yeah. George, have you ever done that? Have you ever bought a domain name that you never
Lance, we're talking, as soon as he brought it up, and I don't want to say, you know what domain name I'm thinking about, right?
I know you are.
Yeah. I was like, oh God.
But it happens. You end up having this epiphany moment. It's 2 o'clock in the morning. You're like, wait a minute, but I better buy this one too, because somebody will plug, and I better get this one while it's available. And of course, there's so much squatting now. It's so hard to find a good domain. Then you think they're sitting in whatever account you're using, whether it's GoDaddy or somebody else. And you think, I don't know, I better hold on to it because they've gotten so hard to get. I mean, look at Elon Musk. He sat on X.com for so many years. Of course, a single digit. Yeah, but go ahead, take it from there. I didn't mean to.
No, not at all. I
We've
appreciate
all
you
done
saying
that.
Yeah, no, that adds to the total story. Well, what had happened was I did the same thing you gentlemen are talking about, and I've made a career out of buying and selling domain names.
Oh, great.
In the early 90s, so 90 or mid 90s, 95 and 96, we were the top 10 aggregating credit card site on the internet called creditcardrates.com. Anyway, so what I had done was I was in Puerto Rico in February of 2021, and commercially, that's when, the beginning of 2021, everybody started talking about NFTs. Now, before, of course, whether you were at NFT NYC or NFT LA and some of these other places, they were giving away CryptoPunks, and even people within the industry, although they were very left brain, they really didn't understand the art behind these NFTs. And so what I did was I had a company called homeclassifieds.com, and this was in 96. And I thought, I wonder if NFTclassifieds.com is available. So I did what you guys do. I went to GoDaddy and it was available. I didn't have to buy it from anybody. And this was like at 2 a.m, right, Lance? And I bought it for $12.17. Then I woke up in the morning and I remembered something that I've always told myself and I've told other people, but I forgot at 1 a.m. And that is this. There's something much more valuable than money, and that's access. You can have access to a place that money can't buy, and typically access is relationship based, okay? And so when I woke up in the morning, I'm like, dude, I'm so screwed, because all of my friends who haven't been telling me they're working on NFT projects, like my pals who bought NFT.com, I thought, dude, I need to sell this thing and I need to go about a path a little differently. So I took that $12.17. I sold the domain 3 weeks later to Pedro Rivera, who runs Crypto Mondays in Puerto Rico, for $8,500. And I started my film career. Okay. And so NFTs.
Did you have any education in film before you jumped in?
Pardon me?
Did you have any education in film?
No. Like I said at the very beginning, I just wake up and I'm like, I'm just going to do it. Right.
Got it. Okay.
And that's why I've been a successful entrepreneur, so to speak, for the last 35 years.
And if you have money, money can buy you access.
You know what?
So
I'm gonna challenge you on that, because if you're in the right room,
give me your money and I'll get you the access.
Yeah.
If you're in the right room with the right people, money doesn't automatically get you into that room. There has to be more than just the money, because what happens then, and
money will get you access. Then it's up to you to finish it.
That part of that's absolutely true. But there are places I've been that people have tried to pay to get in that they can't get in.
Yeah.
They don't know. They don't know the right people are not giving enough.
And you know why, George? Here's why. Because we're seeing it right now in the news of people who got access to places they had no business being access to. And because they were bad actors, just being in that room with that person lowered the other person's brand.
100%. There's no doubt.
So I agree with you, George. I'm not disagreeing, but there are times and places. As a matter of fact, if you wanted to go see the Pope, if you care about the Pope, you can't pay for it. Now you could through a donation over a member, but let's go back. So what I did was I thought, wait a minute, I have access to so many of these people over my career that I've never transacted. I never walked up to them and said, hey, can I have some money? And so what they did was they opened the door for me, and I hired a guy who was doing, his name's Danny Drysdale. He does documentaries, and he was doing the music videos for Imagine Dragons. And he's a dear friend. I said, hey, dude, come with me. Do you guys know Brittany Kaiser and Matt McGibbon?
Nope, do not.
Okay, you need to know them. She was the core of the Great Hack. And that was when Cambridge Analytica had taken all that data during the first Trump administration.
Yeah, I remember that.
She was pregnant at the time. And she's like, listen, Jeff. Now, she ran Brock Pierce's presidential campaign, the overall director, and I was the director in Utah. So we became fast friends. She's like, listen, I literally have 2 weeks and I'm going to have my baby. You need to come out here. So we went out to Austin. We did some video. I don't want to, it's in the movie, and you guys, especially George, is going to cry like a wussy when he sees this one, because I know George just wears his heart on his sleeve. But at the end of the day, what I started to do was I just went to all my friends who were in the industry, and then doors started opening. So I'm going to give everybody a tip who's watching this podcast, this awesome podcast. Get a camera and try to get yourself a media pass. You will get everywhere you want to be. So George, there is a way to pay for it, but you pay for it with service. So what I started to do is I bounced from place to place to place. And from May of 2021 to September, 4.5 months, I created a 2-hour feature film called NFT the Movie. Now, I live here in Utah and had many people behind the scenes who are literally on the board who said, Crane, we can get you in if you really want us in. Wink, wink. I said, nope, that's not how we're doing it. So we didn't get accepted. But if you remember, and you asked this earlier, Lance, about 10 minutes ago about the ARC, it hadn't fallen yet until you were into the 22s, the late 22s and into the 23s. So there was all of this hype of 10,000 Bored Apes and apocalyptic apes and, you name it, right? And so
at that time, the Christie's sale really kind of put everything on optics, because, the art community was wondering, was this going to be the next big thing as they get behind projects? And of course, they always look at it in a different way with the galleries and the rest of them. And I call it conspiring when they decide to, move an artist forward. And some of it happens because of popularity. Some of it happens just because of time. But at the end of the day, I believe that a lot of it then they kind of overhyped the market.
Well, I'm glad you said that, because actually the OGs and the people who actually did work didn't like Christie's. Because what Christie's was pretty much like mainstream media.
Yeah.
And the reason that our movie is called NFT the Movie, the Circus is in town, is because and I know carnies and circus goers, they all band together and they're all freaks and geeks.
Wait a minute.
And once they get
I got something for you guys.
What's that? Dude, this guy's a genius. Exactly. Let me do some juggling. I'm the freaking clown.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's Congress's theme song, by the way. They just announced that they're going to be using that regularly right when they open
Very
up Congress.
fitting.
Yeah, I
Totally
think it's very
fitting.
fitting. Go ahead. Go ahead.
What, before I go any further, because I can do this a lot and I'm verbose, any thoughts you want to add to that as I get going?
No, we
Okay.
continue.
So anyway, the long short of it is, as we got into the circus tent, you realized that there were people like in NFT LA, you had full families, children, there are husbands and wives, and then you had even celebrities. So I got to tell a tiny story. So everybody knows about Fast and the Furious, and there's an Asian gentleman with long hair. I don't know his name. And I was out there filming, and one of my buddies had done an NFT project to help cancer patients, and I thought it was him. Well, I went up and hugged the dude. Well, apparently it was the guy from Fast and Furious. So you had Charlie Sheen and you had some of these other people coming in, and they were all trying to jump, like Mark Cuban. They're all trying to jump in on the bandwagon. But the people behind the scenes, like the people who were really doing the work, they weren't the ones, the smash and grabbers. And so it all kind of got pushed together. So
you're talking about Sung Kang?
Pardon me?
Sung Kang, that's his name, I think. So I just looked it up. The actor.
Yeah. And he was a really,
that was
really
like a
nice
random
guy.
drive-by
He had a buddy
hugging.
with him.
How did he? I said that was a random drive-by hugging. How did he react to that hug?
Yeah, dude, he was so kind, and thank goodness he has like and I don't mean to be, but he has like this really beautiful nature to him, very soft spoken. His buddy's looking at him like, dude, either Crane's like crazy, which I am half crazy, but I thought he was my friend. But the long and the short of it, I guess, the way that I got into the space is I had recognized from the .com era. If you guys remember back then, you're old enough to remember, everybody had the .com at the end of their name until about 98, 99. And they're like, you know what, let's drop that. And there was 1 million websites. And then they, of course, all consolidated. So pets.com and all these other companies went out of business. And that was the .bomb bubble. Every single trend from the dawn of man, including religion, has some sort of pattern. Whether it's Bitcoin or crypto, it doesn't matter. AI now has a pattern, and you can see it a mile away. You have these people who come in and they do the work, these scientists, and all of a sudden somebody else comes in who has the money and say, hey man, let me hire you. I'm going to put you in an office. I'm going to put you in a cubicle. And then what do? They control them, right? They monetize them. And they take advantage of them. And so that happens all the time. So
the struggle is real.
The struggle's real. I knew exactly what I was doing when I put NFT the movie on my shirt and in our brand. I realized 2 things. And tell me what you guys think of this concept or this ideal. Number 1, we knew that people wouldn't be using the letters NFT. Companies like NFT LA actually changed their event name because they didn't want to be associated to the letters NFT, the acronym. And it becomes old hat. Now, whether it's Pepsi Cola or other Fortune 100 and 200 companies, they're using NFTs, right? Starbucks, but they don't call them NFTs. Secondarily, when you put NFT the movie on your shirt, people know at least you're doing a movie. So literally people would come up to me and go, are you doing a movie about NFTs? I'm like, bingo. Because what happens is, right? What happens is people come in and they want to create a brand that nobody knows about. And they even create a whole new language. What they don't do is they don't associate to their client or their audience. Like, you guys know your audience. You speak to your audience. You know what they eat and sleep and drink and the cars that they drive. So as far as I'm concerned, number 1, I don't have any more competition because I'm not competing with my friends who are doing NFT projects. Number 2, I'm here to just tell your story. I'm not here to judge whether your story is right or wrong. And many a times, like the guys from Breaking Bad, like I interviewed one of the guys, he's an actor. He's the bald Mexican dude. And I mean, so many interviews where I'm sitting back listening to him. I'm like, I just did 50 interviews and they said the exact same thing. So they were all repeating the same thing. Now, I'm going to push this back to you, gentlemen.
Common, the unified message that gets orchestrated. we have to cover a lot of these kind of topics on our show, but there's always this unified message, and often it's because of the money behind that, or nobody wants to be connected when something falters. Like if all of a sudden Bitcoin went to zero, all the people that were Bitcoin maxis, and not that I'm saying that's going to happen. Let me preempt that before everybody jumps in the chat. Like Bitcoin will never do that, because we have a lot of maxis that watch the show, but nobody ever wants to be connected to, and I have a different opinion, but I'll tell you what it is here in just a sec. And George, we've talked about this. Nobody ever wants to be connected to what people have portrayed as an unsuccessful project, an unsuccessful topic. And because of the NFT, people don't fully understand that NFT goes way beyond the digital art environment. They don't really understand, its role. And that's part of it's because of the lack of education, because, this is an educational show on top of everything else. That's why I might stop you sometimes if we mention a name, because, if we said, oh, it's, clock by pack, we mentioned that, people are like, what the hell is that? So I try to go slow enough that they get it. But that being said, I often feel like people are making a massive mistake, because I feel like the best people to do business with are the people that are forged in fire, the people that have already been through the tougher times, the more difficult times, maybe in the case of an NFT, even maybe went through the dip. When you get through that, you become more experienced, maybe more understanding, maybe more credible. And I think that you're more likely to persevere. Okay, that music means we've got to take a short break. When we come back, we'll be digging more in. You're going to want to hear more about this. So stay tuned here to the Crypto Power Hour with George Valentine, Lance Miliaccio, and of course our guest, Miriam Reza. And I'll play did I pronounce that right, Miriam? Is it Reza?
That works. Miriam Reza or Reza.
Reza, okay, Reza at Chef Crane. Stay tuned if you want to learn about NFTs. This is the spot, the Crypto Power Hour. We're on the break. Take the live link, share it far and wide. Tell people to come over here and join us. If you want to learn about crypto, you better learn from the bottom up. You better learn about every single topic, because that's how you can get in on this generational wealth opportunity. And of course, maybe doing some good work along the way is an important part of this. So stay tuned. We'll be right back.
I want to win.
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At CSPOA.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever. Visit CSPOA.org and join the Sheriff's Citizens Posse today. Make a difference. Stand for freedom. That's CSPOA.org. Your country, your fight, your future.
What if you could predict your financial future? And what if you could trade on it? Introducing Block Trust IRA, the future in your hands. An astonishing 88,000 millionaires were created last year from the Bitcoin boom, and you could be next. Block Trust IRA is the only crypto management firm powered by AI-driven strategies, ranked #1 in the world by Bitcoin Magazine. The Block Trust IRA platform is built for everyone, from first-time buyers to seasoned investors. Predictive AI technology that was once only reserved for insiders and elites is now available to you. It's time to leave the old buy and hold strategies behind. Your assets are protected with military-grade security, offline cold storage, and $200 million in insurance. Visit BlockTrustIRA.com to book your free consultation and ask how to claim up to $2,500 in deposit bonuses today. Bitcoin changed the game. AI changes the strategy.
Hi folks, I'm here today to introduce you to the Prepper Bar from PrepperBar.com, the most unique precious metals product we have seen in a long time. These 62-gram bars are perforated and easily broken down into your choice of 3 different sizes to fit a multitude of needs. Whether it be from asset protection from inflation, economic turmoil, or its unique utility for barter and trade, the Prepper Bar makes a perfect gift for all the precious metal lovers out there. Exclusively made here in the USA and selling out fast. Available in both gold and silver, these slim Prepper Bars fit neatly in your wallet, and their utility enables use in any situation.
Forged through rigorous training and honed by the finest instructors on Earth, these canine units serve beside our nation's warriors as they fight to preserve what we cherish. When these warriors complete their duty, the Warrior Dog Foundation provides them with a home deserving of the service they've given us all. At our state-of-the-art kennels, they receive rehabilitation and care suitable for heroes, because that's what they are. Be a part of giving them a future today. Visit warriordogfoundation.org.
All right, welcome back to the Crypto Power Hour, powered by Solom Global. Here with your host, Lance Migliaccio, yours truly, George Ballantine, and our guests, special guests, by the way, two of them, Jeff Crane and Miriam Reza. But don't listen, Crypto Army and Crypto Mafia out there. Don't forget to hit the thumbs up button, like, follow, share, subscribe if you can. Every little bit helps. You can even donate. We have the Rumble wallet up. You can even donate crypto. What, Jeff is going to send some crypto in our Rumble wallet? All right, cool.
But actually, if you want, I can share with you how you can use NFTs to make sure that you get some sponsorships. But that's a conversation.
We'll get into that. Yeah. So
I like the thinking.
Speaking of sponsors, I have to give a shout out to our sponsor, because Lance and I have the perfect solution. For the people who can't watch their crypto 24/7, we're talking about BlockTrustIRA.com. They're bringing access to cryptocurrency wealth to everyday people. Their exclusive Animus AI trading platform works 24/7, analyzing market data and executing advanced crypto strategies that go far beyond buy and hold. This is sophisticated technology, once reserved only for Wall Street insiders. But guess what? Now it's available to you. And it's no surprise this system was named #1 crypto technology platform by Bitcoin Magazine out of more than 1,500 global competitors. Clients are already seeing over 250% returns on their investments, all with military-grade security and up to $200 million insurance. Your wealth is fully protected. All you got to do is don't wait. Go visit bigmidcrypto.com today and see how you can join this financial revolution. Once again, visit bigmidcrypto.com today, and you can actually get up to $2,500 of free crypto. I got the QR code right here. Take a screenshot, save it to your photo files, but don't now yet. Go there later after the show, because Jeff Crane is about to tell us more about NFTs, sheep, and the world, where we left off.
Well, Lance and George, there's an old adage, practice makes perfect, but that's actually not correct. It's perfect practice makes perfect. And what happened was, in the very beginning, people were getting up on stage because that's how events were done. So in the case of NFT NYC, they've had over 5,000 speakers alone, just the speakers, and This will be their 10th year, right? Well, what happens is people will come to the event, and I call them circus goers. If we're going to relate this to a circus and they come to the circus tent, they're the circus goers who sit there and they listen to everybody regurgitating what they had heard before, because what a lot of the times, you have to understand, this NFT industry is so young. People were getting in the industry, and then 3 months later they were on stage. And when you put somebody on stage or put somebody in front of a camera, including us, listen, we're just regular people, man. We're just trying to do our things. Don't take us so freaking seriously. Do your own research. Well, everybody started saying the same thing and doing the same thing. But the puppet masters, so to speak, behind the scenes were doing something completely different. And so that's why the masses kind of got in trouble, because when somebody asked them what an NFT was, they regurgitated what they had heard from stage or what they were saying from stage. So I just wanted to plant that seed that a lot of the times our trends start to move in. You think about AI. I own a few AI properties, including AI.NYC. And 3 years ago, 3.5, 4 years ago, people who were getting into AI were speaking a certain language. And if you didn't know anything about AI before, you just started speaking their language. Now, you know today, because Lance, we were talking about it before the show, you wake up in the morning, things have changed. The goalpost has already moved.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's tricky. And, I think also when it comes to innovative I guess, technologies or concepts like we're seeing in blockchain. Kind of an eclectic group. You get a wide mix. I immediately was uneasy about SBF. There's something about him that I just found it, the hair on the back of my neck kind of stood up about him. But that's the difficulty, right? Because you get an SBF situation, it damages the whole market. You get a big pig butchering scam. A bunch of people get their money taken. That damages the community. And I think the same thing happened with NFT, because I always say don't judge a book by its cover, but the Web3 community and the blockchain are very eclectic. You look at if you look at Schwartz, you look at others, and you're kind of like, what's this guy all about? And then you find out even the company that sponsors the show, Solum Global, the founder's got a big, long, kind of ZZ Top style beard. And Kirk is an interesting guy, extremely bright, very articulate, had a lot of successes in his life. And he went down this vertical early on, maybe got it started too soon. And now the market's kind of met with the concept, which of course they're probably going to do extremely well based on where they're going. But that's the judgmental nature. And of course, mainstream media loves the negative. We have to watch it on our own show because we're looking for stories. And I'm like, man, we're just like the purveyors of doom and gloom today. Is there any fucking, is there anything positive we could talk about? Because you look at the news cycle and it's created in a manner. And I think that a lot of that happened in this.
Listen,
market.
You guys are the positive. Let's just be honest. Like you clearly don't have a problem like telling the truth. And if George gets an opportunity to tell the truth like that, he's the first one in line. And so you're the differentiator. Now, it doesn't mean you get everything right. And that's not really your job. You're just there to report and do the very best you can on the knowledge that you have. In my movies, and we'll pass it to Miriam in a second. In my movies, the most important thing is the relationship that I have with the people that I film. And I'll tell you a tiny story of Michael Turpin. Do you guys know Michael Turpin?
Yes.
Okay. He's a dear friend of mine. He was second person in Puerto Rico to welcome me to Puerto Rico. And the long story short, we were at NFT LA. Now, because of my OCD like you, Lance, and a little bit of my ADD like you, George, I can't sit still and I'm always having to go in and out of things. So we were filming about 10 hours a day, and about every 45 minutes to an hour, I had to excuse myself. By the way, that's a trick for anybody who's neurodivergent and can't control the energy that's coming in your body. You have to separate yourself physically and reset. So I would go to the parking structure, sit in my NFT mobile, which was my Beetle. I had two of them. And I would just sit there and structure myself. Anyway, this was during COVID, or right around COVID. And so they had a lot of, this was post-COVID, but they had a lot of security, especially if it's LA. So this was at the Crypto.com Center. Long story short is, I had been going in and out and going through the security. So all the security knew me, but every single time I came in, they had to check my bag, right? To make sure there wasn't anything nefarious in it.
Gotcha.
We all get impatient. I was probably hangry, and I'm looking at the lady, and in my mind, I'm like, bro, I literally just walked through here 5 minutes ago. I didn't say anything, but it was at the tip of my tongue. And what I heard in a little whisper behind me was Michael Turpin saying, "Hey, Jeff, you causing trouble?" And I'm like, oh my gosh. Everybody's watching. I could have made the mistake of kind of giving her a hard time, but it's these interpersonal relationships that I have with people that make what I do so very valuable, because they're watching me and I'm watching them, and we're kind of keeping each other in check. And so for me, the most important about this whole entire project, it's about the humanity of things, because some people don't even know how to spell NFT and they don't even freaking care. So when you watch this movie, you're going to cry, you're going to get mad, you're going to be like, wow, I didn't know that. And you'll forget by the time you're done with the movie that you're even watching a movie about NFTs. Because to tell you quite frankly, it would be so boring if we were just talking about NFTs.
Yeah.
True.
Well, for the audience, a lot of people consider him the godfather, or at least one of the godfathers of crypto for the audience, Michael Turpin. But let me go here. Let's talk about the website, kind of explain to people what you've assembled here. Thankfully, I didn't grab the wrong NFT, because I don't really like screwing with people's art. When I made the thumbnail, I took the bear. Luckily enough, I got the right. I picked the right one.
You did.
Just out of
all
dumb
the
luck.
ones you could have picked. You picked the right one.
because people are sensitive about their art, and I felt awkward even doing it.
That's okay, man.
Because the thumbnail has to be 1920 by 1080 for all the platforms. You struggle with, and then if you take something that's there and you try to stretch it, or you try it turns into a shamble. So I had to use AI, and thankfully I picked the right one. But take it from there. I just wanted to explain to the audience how we ended up with that image.
Well, those 4 images you're looking at, actually, we gave those away at NFT NYC in 2025. And they typically do that. And if you've never been to the event, it's really quite interesting. One year, they spent $500,000 alone putting their NFTs on Times Square, and the speakers and stuff like that. What these are digital movie posters. Now, what's really important about NFTs that a lot of people got wrong in the past, they would create things and then they would find an audience. We find an audience and then create things. So you'll notice that there's a theme, somewhat of a theme there, where you have kind of like the ape there with the camera, and, you know, because he's the crypto clown. You have like the bear. You've always seen, you know, circuses where the bear's
Circus bears, yeah.
right? And the circus bear is kind of like the guy who gets invited to the stage, and he's got his Bitcoin little chain, and he's like, bro, I'm the Bitcoin bro. You know what I mean? And then if you go down below, you'll notice we have more posters. Some of these people you may know. By the way, that's the BMW we were referring to earlier with the NFT, and then there's my little beetle. But each one of these digital posters, we actually have a partnership. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pass it to Miriam. She is the CEO of Digital Poster Co. And I need to tie in about a 10-second intro on this. What she didn't tell you is that when she helped me find this parking spot, because she was so gracious, I said, why don't you stick around? Now, this was 2021, and she was living in Miami. We became dear friends, and she started helping us remotely. Well, she ended up moving to Salt Lake City to help me personally, and one thing led to the next. And now she's one of the top Web3, and I will say this, female young CEOs in our industry, and it started by her helping me and serving me. So for all of those out there who are trying to figure out a way in and that access, serve, be nice, show up, endure. Jeff Crane, and now she's the co-founder and she runs this company. So Miriam, do you want to talk a little bit about those posters?
Of course.
And do you want us to pull, Miriam, before you start, do you want us to pull up the website for the Poster Co?
That's perfect. Yeah.
Okay.
That's perfect.
Okay. So with Digital Poster Co, what we're doing is we're creating a way to represent everyone who's within the film and give back to them. When we show the movie, NFT the movie, The Circus in Town, in the bottom right-hand corner, we will be displaying their movie poster. And that's a way to advertise that people can support that person in the film. We have a numerous amounts of all sorts of people who are in the film.
About how many?
We have about 50 posters, partners that are in the film.
Wow.
And we have a huge diversity of stories. So we have people who are like the ringmasters who are putting on the events, like
Michael,
Cameron and Jody, who run NFT NYC, Michael Turpin, Scott and Scarlett with Bit Basel. We have the digital acrobats who are the people creating their own arts. We have the jugglers who trade. We have the crypto clowns, and we have all these personas represented within the film. One poster that, I mean, it's hard to pick from the whole list of them. They are all such unique stories, but one poster that is really meaningful to us is created by a gentleman named Houston Vandergriff, who has Down syndrome, and he has gone to all 50 states, been to over 32 different countries, is a little bit nonverbal, and his mom travels with him and also speaks with him. We had a great interview with him at NFT NYC. He's just a beacon of light, and we consider him to be a great friend of ours now at this point. We're so honored that he's been part of the movie, a poster partner, and
we're going to share the poster. It's a little sensitive because I tend to cry every single time. So
we have it on the wait list, right?
Or I don't know. What does it look like? Maybe you can tell George.
Wait, where is it at?
The white list on the website.
We're just scrolling, George.
Here?
I don't know if it's on there, is it? I don't think it's on there.
Oh, it might not be on there.
But you want to explain what it is?
But his poster particularly is a scene of Grand Central Station when he was stuck on a delay for 4 to 5 hours. And he was just doing what he does best, which is taking photographs. And he knows a father and son standing together in the station, and that reminded him of his relationship with his father. And that just is so powerful that he felt that he wanted to share that story with us and put that in the film. And we're very honored to share his story and many others of our poster partners.
As a matter of fact, gentlemen, if you'll look at when it slides, there's a poster with a square box. I don't know if you can click on that, if that's actually clickable, and it may not be. It's in the next slide, and it will be a square box. One over, keep going to the left.
With the American flag.
Yep,
in the
it
background.
has the American flag, and it looks 3D.
This thing scrolls by itself.
Okay, that right there is the actual digital receipt of the blockchain vote for Brock Pierce when he was here in Utah being voted. So we actually turned that into an NFT. So each one of these stories has a supporting cast. So you'll see the young lady, Gretchen from Puerto Rico. She's the right-hand person to Sugar Shane Mosley. She's a personal trainer for Michael Turpin. And you're like, what does that
This
have
one?
to do with? Yes, sir. She's fabulous, and she's a Puerto Rican. And you would ask, well, what does that have to do with NFTs? And that's the point. You don't have to be an NFT artist to be in our film. You just have to be somebody who contributes to our community. She just so happens to have a poster. And so what happens is, like Miriam said, we actually do a 50-50 split or a 70-30 split in the case of Rainbow, who has autism, in the case of Houston, who has Down syndrome, and some other people who we really feel are very special.
Including those who've helped us with our staff and filming and over the project over many years.
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
Now, do they help conceptualize what you're going to put on the poster with them, or do you guys, who comes up with the concept?
It's a mixture of both, but the important part is that we want to share and edify their stories. So we want the posters to be personally meaningful to each poster partner. Some of our poster partners are artists themselves, and they've created their own art. In some other situations, we've also helped to put together their posters because it's more about sharing their story.
Well, let me give you an exact
You know what I see
example on that.
missing here? I do not see a poster on the Crypto Power Hour with George and Larry. That's what I see missing.
Well, we could talk about that. Now, this only shows a very
See, I'm
small
not that
percent.
bad. He said that, not me.
Do me a favor. There's
Lance,
a black and
hold on, not for nothing, Lance, but I was way ahead of you in a private chat with these two.
Oh, we're
Oh yeah, dude. We've
I don't
had
waste
some great
time.
conversations.
if the shot's
By the
clean,
way,
I gotta
guys-
take. If the shot is clean, I've got to take it. That's how it works.
Yeah, no, absolutely. By the way, George comes off a little bit harsh online, but he's a pussycat behind the scenes. So go to the black and white if you don't mind. You'll see it to the right, and
Yeah,
it's
I'm
really
good.
big logo. Okay,
Yep, that one.
why don't you explain this one, because this is actually a representation of a photograph.
So this is a drone videography still shot taken by Matthew Hoyos. He is our main videographer who's been filming with us over many years. He's known as the Drone King of Miami. He gets aerial shots all over the world. He has wonderful videography content in Miami, New York, Colombia, a lot of really great, amazing cities or just natural nature scenescapes. And he's just very, very talented. So we were really honored that he wanted to put together a scene of New York, and we blew up the movie logo to give it that same look like Saturday Night Live.
Now, let me give you one more,
Yeah,
guys.
it does
I
kind of
think
have that feel. Go ahead.
Right? It really does. And that was the goal. To the far right, you're going to see a dog. That one. Now, do you guys know Miguel Celis, Miggy?
No.
Okay, you need to have him on your show. He's
at every crypto
he is at
event.
every single crypto event. He's one of those guys who serves behind the scene. Now, that dog.
Yeah, we'd
that's
love to
reason-
have him on.
Yeah. Oh, you would love him. See the halo. Well, he came into town and his dog was sick.
Oh,
And so, yep, we drove around in the convertible. We gave that dog the very best last week of his entire life. So this represents the dog. Now you can tell that I don't know how I'm holding it together. Each one of these stories are so important that when we show the film, The people are going to be able to relate to them. And it's not about the art, it's about supporting. And that's why, Lance, I asked you from the very beginning if you knew these artists. If you knew one of the artists grew up with no family, and they grew up in an orphanage, and they had 2 fingers, no other fingers, and they were blind and they were painting, and you had some sort of affinity, it doesn't matter if that painting goes to $10,000. For me, right?
I agree with that concept.
Of course you do.
I know I've never really bought for the money. I bought for what I liked.
That's right. And so for us, and I have my hand in you see Jesus in there. I have my hand in every single decision of the people who come in. And the quote that I want people to understand is, you are not the last bad thing that you've done.
Who made this? Who created this poster?
We did. So Miggy gave us the art, and then we put it in the structure. And then what we do is you'll notice, if you guys notice something, it says NFT the movie, not NFT the movie, The Circus is in town. This was in our original movie that nobody saw. And we decided we are not going to let people see this until we want to bring it all out together. So we literally have, guys, 50 plus posters of people who are either interviewed in the movie, because you can't put 50 people in that are all interviews, or else the movie would be 7 hours long. So what we've done is about 3/4 of the posters are people who represent the community that don't get love. And what we're doing is, in the sections that we're talking about certain things, we put those posters in there. And then at the end, when there's credits, there's a QR code that a person can buy that poster to support that artist. And then we're creating the provenance and the pedigree of the fact that there's going to be 10 people, 10,000, and 1 million people who will end up watching these films. So each one of these posters are 299 posters. The first one is $500. Some of the other ones are more expensive based on their art pedigree. And the rest of them are $200 a piece. Very few of them have IRL or utility, because the utility in itself is the fact that they're in a movie. You guys might know this, but Gone with the Wind is about 100 years old. If you had a candlestick that was behind Lauren Bacall from that set, that candlestick would be worth about $60,000. Well, and so go ahead.
No, finish your thought.
No, go ahead.
Before I go any further, I want to tell you what the origin story behind why I started to do this in 2021. You guys are young men, but in 1977, Star Wars came out. I was 8 years old. How old were you guys?
Bro, we're all the same age bracket. Lance is older than both of us.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
But thank you for thinking I was younger. I appreciate you.
Well, you act 35.
I
look 35? Oh, great.
You act 35. I didn't say you look
54 during
I said you acted. So imagine if George Lucas had called up Andy Warhol and said, bro, it was great hanging out with you at Studio 54. Can you create a Darth Vader poster in your art? Dude, that poster would be worth like $100,000 today. So what I decided to do is I said, you know what? NFTs are all about collaboration. Why don't we call up some of these people who've been very instrumental in my life and in this movie, and let's give them an opportunity. And so that's where the collaboration happens. Now, the reason Miriam is doing what she's doing.
Let me stop you there. So you have a person you're going to interview on the show, and they're going to collaborate. Did some of these people collaborate with their own artists to create the artwork, and then they submit it to you for approval?
Yes. So in the case of Houston, he's a photographer. It was his art. In the case of Rainbow, she's a painter, and it's her art.
Gotcha. Interesting stuff. Go ahead. I didn't mean to step on.
No.
I wanted people to understand the connection.
That was a very appropriate question. What we did was we started interviewing people, and because like I'm in the middle of these interviews and I'm just like dumbfounded at their journey, I'm like, how do we give back? And it's not through ticket sales. As a matter of fact, guys, we probably won't even sell tickets. We want everybody to, like, we have a friend, her name is Elena, who did Dirty Coin, which I'd love to have you guys interview her. It's a wonderful movie about power usage, the ups and downs of Bitcoin. But she's made over, I'd say $500,000 in the last couple of years, because every time somebody shows her film, it's $750 at some sort of event. For us, all we want to do is have people buy these posters. And by the time we're done, approximately $2.5 million will go to the artist. We will get much less. But the point is we're including everybody. And that's what people missed in the very beginning of NFTs. It was always them in us. If you didn't get a Bored Ape, do you guys know how much a Bored Ape was in 2021 when they first came out?
You know, they were very cheap, weren't they?
$500.
Yeah, and then they went through the roof.
When I did my second documentary, Magic City Ape DAO, about a DAO, which you guys know, but there were 72 people who owned Bored Apes. By the time it screened, they were down to $50,000. And I'm sitting there talking to a janitor who bought the thing for $500. And I'm like, bro, are you sure you don't want to sell it? Because they're at 450,000 right now. And he's like, no, I'll never sell it.
Yo, you said something earlier about, about the posters with some people that aren't getting the love. Listen, man, I'm single. I ain't getting or feeling the love either. So maybe it could be a poster of my day. I don't know. Just saying. You have any gear? Any NFT gear, like shirts or hats, anything?
I'm going to answer the first question, and it's cool at the second, but let me tell you something, that when the movie comes out, what I'm planning on doing is because Miriam has been acting as my left brain, my admin, even though she's
sitting on the laps.
That's right. But what's going to happen is, this is the origin story. There's going to be another one with a follow-up, because you guys got to realize I've got about 1,000 hours of film, and I'm only touching on a few things. So there's definitely going to be a future, gentlemen. Let's have that conversation, because really, again, George, you understand what I'm saying. It's based on relationships, and you and
I'm just teasing you.
No. Even if you're being truthful, let me tell you something.
No, I don't get the love. I am single, but I'm saying I know down the road we're talking. I get that, of course. But I got to tease you in that sense.
It's based on, it's like if you go to like summer camp and you're hanging out with people for 2 or 3 days. That's what events are, 2 to 3 days, right? And you have event after event after event, and you start watching people and you start seeing what they're doing, and you start to fall in love with them, and you start to want to support them. That's where the impetus is for this whole thing. And I can't hand you 10 Bitcoin as much as I want to, bro. But what I can do, and think about how genius this is, Lance. Think about this. If I have 50 people with posters, what are they going to do? They're going to say, I'm in the movie, my poster's in the movie, and their audience will all come see the movie and buy the posters. Guys, you have a massive audience. It would make total sense. Only if we have this relationship, because otherwise I'm shilling or I'm not being congruent to my own heart. This is not about a transaction. This is about the relationship that I've had with people that I personally have. And I'm not even kidding you. Today, I had somebody call me and says, do you have so-and-so in your movie? Because I don't want to be in it. They didn't say it like that, but it was kind of a thing, like they were being very careful to make sure that they're not associated to another person. And I'm like, I'm not going to change who I hang out with for anybody. I have my own truth, but I get it.
All right.
And so the people who are in this movie let me just share something with you guys. Do you ever, when you spend money, do you use a dollar bill? You
Depends
do.
on the transaction.
Right.
We use crypto in some cases.
Right.
Depends on what the transaction
But
is.
on that dollar bill is George Washington.
Correct.
Now, he was a slave owner. And if you were really against that, you'd never use a dollar. You'd never use an Andrew Jackson, or you'd never use a Thomas
There's
Jefferson.
a lot of other artwork on dollar bills that if you really understood it,
That's right. That's
you might not ever want to use a dollar bill again.
That's right. And so there is the literal and the spirit of things. And I'm more of the spirit of things. Miriam's more the literal that keeps me out of trouble. But this whole film about the relationship with Joyce Chow, who is the right-hand gal to Michael Turpin, they're dating, right? And they love each other. All of these wonderful little stories that we have, when they watch this film, they're like, this is like summer camp. This is like turning the camera on. You have a fight in the corner. Somebody burns down the freaking shed. Somebody's in the middle of the lake making out. Somebody's breakdancing. We have Michael Turpin breakdancing. I mean,
really,
it's really about bringing the humanity to this thing called NFT.
All right.
Yeah, and
hold on, Lance. I want to give Miriam a chance here, because Miriam's the glue that's holding all of Jeff's stuff together. We know that. I'm going to bring her to Digital Poster Co., her site. You want to tell me what to do or show it? Talk. Go ahead, Miriam. The floor is yours, sweetie.
Well, right now, this is our just temporary site, but we are going to be redirecting it where we'll have all our posters, and that will be redirected to cred.com, which is where we'll be selling the posters.
Check what credits.
Yes, so Cred was created by Cameron and Jody, who run NFT NYC. They started the entire NFT NYC conference to support their platform, which hosts NFTs. And we're very honored to include them in our film. We're really grateful to be good friends with them. And they've been a huge, tremendous support in our story and our narrative and putting everything together.
Yeah, that's great. By the way, that even this site, I know you're saying it's temporary. I like both of them. I love the NFT, the movie, the site. I love the dark mode and the posters, the color, everything's great. Just so I can share with the audience. Sometimes we talk about stuff and people are like, what are they talking about? George, I threw a couple of.
I know, I'm getting them right now, Lance.
Yeah, so this is the Obey, and why this appealed to me. I wanted to use this behind me on the show, so as a comment, and it's Big Brother is watching. This was the lead concept art for the show that he first did. I think it was 2006, and this is a one of one. This is where a lot of the other art posters and stuff that he did came from. And the only reason I show this is because it resonated with me when I saw. So you asked me why I bought. Big Brother's watching because I always knew about the intelligence state. I'd been a government contractor in a different life. And not that it's maybe one of my proudest moments, but I worked for Blackwater USA and Halliburton and Wackenhut and Sabre. And after being involved in that, I recognized that there was a real nefarious operation that most people didn't realize. They thought it was the spreading of democracy. And I didn't work for only this government. I worked for a lot of different governments.
All right, get back to your art, man.
Anyway, that art was what I wanted to use in the show. And then the next two shots are the studio, and I'll show you. A friend of mine and I made this thing that's hanging behind the wall. We created. That's our studio in Denver. That's our actual space in Denver.
Oh, I love it.
And then the other piece, it's the only one I had with the picture of the painting. This is behind me. I tried to do a knockoff kind of concept that hung behind me because, of course, as we just mentioned, the dollar bill.
I love that.
The connection to. Yeah, it's a mixed media, just like the Obey, but it wasn't in the same format. There's a copy of the Constitution that's kind of decoupaged in there, and things like Q and the Mason Triangle. And of course, that's the Illuminati eye, the all-knowing. So lots of different integrations. But even if you look at our artwork on our banners, it's all about the surveillance state and really what maybe is going behind. Even if you see our intro on our regular show, we spent a lot of time on the intro. There's lots of things that are integrated into it, whether it's the Federal Reserve banking system or other things I don't know. So anyway, that's kind of how we came to the conclusion in the studio in Denver, Georgia.
Can I ask you and Lance a quick question?
Yeah, sure.
Have you guys ever thought of doing your own little documentary?
Let me say this. It's interesting, and I think George and I are kind of it's a great combination. There's a lot of things that I am not good at that he excels at, and there are many things that I do that are quite different than George. See, if you ever really take this piece, this is what we use on our headers for our regular show. But you have to go in very close on it. Like there's a picture of the Twin Towers burning and there's surveillance eyeball. There's actual a CCTV camera. There's some Russian propaganda poster integration. So I had an artist help me with all this. And the reason we did all this is because we wanted people to realize that there was a lot more than what they were being told. And we were more political in the beginning. We've kind of toned some of that down, not for any reason other than there's so much other stuff to cover that's so important because like you guys are helping people in one way. We try to help. We call it educating and unifying the country one episode at a time. So no, in answer to your question, because it's an interesting thing to have value, right? You have to have growth and you have to propel it, whether it's through donations or, Rumble rants or whatever else it is. And you have to grow a show because if you don't have the views, you don't have the growth. So just, I'm happy we connected with you because it sounds like you have quite a few connections because the difficulty comes, it's like American Idol basically in its own form, as much as I hate to even use that. You have to get interviews that are outside maybe where your show is at that moment. Everybody's going to say yes to Joe Rogan. But even though we're one of the fastest growing shows on Rumble for our regular show, and we have the #1 crypto show, you still have to get to that point where when you pick up the phone, people will respond. And they want to come on, but of course, don't have the views, don't have the growth. So a documentary, sure, it's appealing. What would be the storyline?
Okay, well, let me share what I see, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
what I
sure.
see is there's conflict. You're full of in that conversation, there's this conflict of who do we talk to, and if we can get the most information as possible. You two are the main characters. And because of your integrity and the people that you talk to, basically you have 2 or 3 narratives. You're interviewing somebody. Believe me, when Joe Rogan's done with the show, I guarantee he says something different off screen.
Oh, for sure.
Even though he is congruent to himself, he has a brand that he has to stick to, right? And especially when he was with Spotify, there were certain things he
there's no
couldn't
doubt. And
say.
they contracts up for renewal in 26. So
But you guys are like pioneers, bro. Like you guys have access. You know how to interview people. Clearly, you know the technical side. And it hasn't been done. I would love to see somebody from our industry. And when I say our industry, the blockchain industry, the Web3 industry, interviewing people, but it's about your journey as you're weaving your way through the media and all the minutia.
Yeah.
I think it would be a short one. It'd be like maybe a 15, 20-minute kind of thing. The reason I say that is because there's an old adage, if you prepare for war, you're going to get war. If you prepare for a documentary, the way that you do it has to be digestible by a large audience. At least you'd want it to be so. But at the same token, you want to put those kernels of truth that people will be like, dude, I never thought of that. And I just see you guys as
one
two
of the
different
sayings
people
we say
that
on our
could be
regular
great
show,
together in a movie.
One of the sayings we say on our regular show is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war.
Speaking of saying movies, I don't know if you know, Lance did some acting. Where were you acting? What was it, Lance?
Oh, this years ago. I did a bunch of stuff with, a lot of serious stuff. Perry Mason, Father Dowling, 911 hard copy. Of course, I was typecast. If I wasn't some kind of a military person, I was usually a bad guy. I'm 6'1", about 245 pounds. So, they're like, okay, henchman number 2, perfect. It's never anybody and never a lot of work. Just the pieces here and there. I was very busy. I had a company that was making a considerable amount of money at the time, and that was my priority. And I was very distracted. I got offered lots of stuff I couldn't take because it included 3, 4, 5, 6 months on set or out of country. And I turned it down. In retrospect, maybe I shouldn't have. I enjoyed doing it, but I also had this weird thing because of the government contracting. I was uneasy during that time period because I was still doing some contract work. So one of those things. Well, George, is that the music? Are you queuing it up? Man, that went by too fast.
And we're almost an hour and a half.
We're going to have to get you guys back on. I don't know if we covered anything, but George, can we do one thing?
Of course we did.
Just for a
you
minute?
guys are awesome. Thank you.
Let's do the shameless plug. Give them everything, your social media. When's the movie going to be out, George? Let them have a minute to just shameless plug everything they got.
I'm not that bad of a person, bro. He said I was nice, man.
Yeah.
I
want to say something.
Actually.
George is the more social, nice one. I still probably have an awkwardness about me. Because
no, dude, you're awesome, bro. Come on, man.
This is what he's saying. So if we're at an event, hold on. If we're at an event, I'm the one going up to people, getting all the introductions. I'll talk to them, then I'll pass them to Lance, and I'll just go find another connection. He's not like everybody's got their. We all got our thing. So
I go back to my fallback positions. Usually, I like to have my back to the wall, and I'm usually observing what's going on.
What George is the door opener, and what you are, Lance, is the door closer. And a lot of people on entrepreneurs, they try to be both at the same time, and you can't.
What are you talking about? I close all the time.
I know, but you play that role when you walk in as the intro. You're not being hard on them. You're being nice to them.
Oh, yeah.
And then it's passed to somebody else.
Yeah. All right, go ahead. Jump in.
So let me answer the question if you like.
Jeff, let's plug everything you guys
got. So we're going to be going to an Oscars art party mid-March. We thought we were done filming at the end of last year with Bit Basil, but since NFT NYC has been moved from June to September, we have a little extra time. So we're going to be hanging out with Scott Page, the musician with Pink Floyd. He's an artist and he has an art fund. So we're going to be going down there and we've got some really high-end collectible digital movie posters that we can't show right now. They're about $10,000 a piece. And so we're going to be contributing part of our money into his fund. And so the long of the short of it is we're prepared to show screeners, but we won't show the movie until we're in New York. And then I'm going to make sure that you're invited. You can bring a spouse or a girlfriend, George, to the red carpet at Bit Basil, because that's going to be our huge event. So it'll be in December, the first part of December at Bit Basil in Miami this year.
That's great. Yeah, that'd be exciting. We could come down and give coverage, do some live interviews from the event.
Wait, you're saying
I just want you to be my guest and enjoy yourself. If you want to work, you can do it.
The event is
it's a great opportunity, right?
The event you said is in New York?
Okay, we have one in New York in September.
Okay.
And then we have our big event in Miami, which is the red carpet, red velvet rope. We'll be selling NFTs from $200 to $500 for this red rope. For you two gentlemen, you get in with a partner, with a friend, and we would love to have you, and you can be my personal guest.
That's awesome.
I'll go to very generous.
I'll go to
offer.
both.
Thank
I'll
you.
go to, because I live right here in New York and I'm always in Florida anyway. So sure, why not?
Yeah.
Well, are you familiar with NAC, the National Art Center? It's about 150 years old.
Yes.
Yeah.
We may be going there because our good friend Steve Masur is on the board and he's trying to set stuff up. For the right now, what we're doing is just adding a little bits and pieces to the end of the film. And unfortunately, like we were talking about before, Lance, that goalpost keeps moving. And so we've got to finish this sucker and get it done because, dude, Miriam knows this. I've been doing this for 5 years, about $200,000 underwater. And I just got to get this mother sucker out there so people can enjoy it.
Miriam.
That's the hard part when you really want to make it perfect and you just keep moving the goalpost on yourself. But I agree with you.
Hold on,
You
Miriam.
have to strike while the iron.
You're going to give him a time clock. You're going to set the stage where the goalpost can't move anymore. That's what he needs, because I know how he is, because we'll keep going, adding this and that. That's the way our brains work. So you need to.
She's good at that.
You need to put. Well, I'm helping her. Give her a little advice, suggestion. Put a clock on it and say you got till now, and that's it. It's over.
Yeah. Well, listen, I control the movie. She controls the posters. And the fact of the matter is, if somebody invites you to the Oscars and they're like, "We're going to sell $50,000 worth of paintings," and you get to be a part of it, you show up.
Yeah, I mean, you guys are making the right moves. I love the connections. I love the energy you guys are putting out. It's positive. And I think it's needed in this community. All that is really part of it. And for people that have tried to, take it into only a monetized version of the world, that's the mistake, right? Because that's not where it started. And I don't think that's where it's going to finish. So first of all, I want to thank you guys. Last thing, social media. Are you guys on X? Are you on? Give it all.
Yep, we're on social. We're on X for Digital Poster Co. at DPC Spaces. You can also follow Jeff, specifically Jeffrey R. Crane on X. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're also on LinkedIn.
What about yours, Miriam? Throw out your personal here. Don't be holding back.
Well, if you want to follow me on LinkedIn, happy to connect. My personal Instagram is Velveteen Gallery, and that's where I put up my artwork.
Okay, great. George is on Instagram. I'm not, but we'll follow you guys over on X. Watch for the follows from the Big Mig Show and us. We've got some decent accounts over there.
Congratulations on your podcast, guys. I've watched several of your shows. It's intriguing. You don't know what direction you guys are going to go. You've got, a really good format. And so thank you for the invitation.
Thank you for coming.
Joining us.
Very great.
It's been a wonderful conversation.
No, George, go ahead.
No, finish, Lance. Go ahead. It's good.
Yeah, I just want to say that I appreciate you guys coming today. I think for the audience, it's important for them to understand all facets of what's happening around them. They have to get involved. And even if it's, one piece of it, just to get started, because often people ask us, how do I get started? I don't understand. And we'll tell them, buy a stable coin, play conservative, learn the ropes, don't make any mistakes, make a payment at Starbucks or somewhere else, figure out how it works, and don't, so you can protect yourself, because it's a fast moving environment. So thank you guys again. We'll follow you back. Stick around for a minute. Let me just get us out of here. All right, listen, we love you guys. If you love the show, take the short form and long form. Do a follow, subscribe. Go find these guys on social media. Do what you can to support them. Of course, if you like the art, you can always buy a piece of it. Going to be opportunities there. Make sure you catch the screening, and when the movie comes out, it's a great way to learn. It seems like a very, very interesting documentary. So that's it. George, last words.
Oh, thanks, Lance. Jeff and Miriam, it was actually absolutely a pleasure and honor having both you guys come on. When that movie's about to be out, when it's getting like a month, 2 months behind, let us know. Keep us informed. We'll help promote it on our channel here, on our shows. This way you get it out there and, do whatever we can to help. You guys are great. Don't go nowhere. Now you can't leave, but we'll see you guys 11 o'clock today for the Big Mig Show. If not, we'll see you Friday for the Crypto Power Hour. God bless. Stay safe out there.
Are you ready to stand up for your community and support your local sheriff? Join the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association and become a vital member of the Sheriff's Citizens Posse. At CSPOA.org, we empower citizens like you through weekly webinars, arming you with the knowledge to back your constitutional county sheriff. Together, we can uphold our Constitution and ensure liberty and justice for all. Your community needs you now more than ever. Visit CSPOA.org and join the Sheriff's Citizens Posse today. Make a difference. Stand for freedom. That's CSPOA.org. Your country, your fight, your future.
What if you could predict your financial future? And what if you could trade on it? Introducing Block Trust IRA, the future in your hands. An astonishing 88,000 millionaires were created last year from the Bitcoin boom, and you could be next. Block Trust IRA is the only crypto management firm powered by AI-driven strategies, ranked #1 in the world by Bitcoin Magazine. The Block Trust IRA platform is built for everyone, from first-time buyers to seasoned investors. Predictive AI technology that was once only reserved for insiders and elites is now available to you. It's time to leave the old buy and hold strategies behind. Your assets are protected with military-grade security, offline cold storage, and $200 million in insurance. Visit BlockTrustIRA.com to book your free consultation and ask how to claim up to $2,500 in deposit bonuses today. Bitcoin changed the game. AI changes the strategy.
Hi folks, I'm here today to introduce you to the Prepper Bar from PrepperBar.com, the most unique precious metals product we have seen in a long time. These 62-gram bars are perforated and easily broken down into your choice of 3 different sizes to fit a multitude of needs. Whether it be from asset protection from inflation, economic turmoil, or its unique utility for barter and trade, the Prepper Bar makes a perfect gift for all the precious metal lovers out there. Exclusively made here in the USA and selling out fast. Available in both gold and silver, these slim Prepper Bars fit neatly in your wallet, and their utility enables use in any situation.
Forged through rigorous training and honed by the finest instructors on Earth, these canine units serve beside our nation's warriors as they fight to preserve what we cherish. When these warriors complete their duty, the Warrior Dog Foundation provides them with a home deserving of the service they've given us all. At our state-of-the-art kennels, they receive rehabilitation and care suitable for heroes, because that's what they are. Be a part of giving them a future today. Visit WarriorDogFoundation.org.